Hello everybody and welcome back to 21st Century Football. It's the Euros. We're getting very excited and cast your mind back to Euro 2004 today. My name's Will Brazier and we're going to be getting all nostalgic about the tournament. Joining me, as ever, Adam Brown. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm very, very excited about this. This is, for me, one of my favourite tournaments, I'm going to say it.
I want to start how I mean to go on. How old were you in this tournament?
Right, this has become a recurring theme.
No, but this is when
I know what you're sort of getting at me here, aren't you? I was old, and I was about 17.
So is this the first drinking major tournament?
Because
I feel like that separates tournaments for people. Is like, you know, watching at home for your parents or having a bloody pint.
To be honest, I watched majority of the games probably at home, but I'd probably say there's a couple of beers involved.
Wow.
Probably would have been, believe it or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Dave,
Wild.
how old? What were you?
14 years old, I think.
Have we gone from pen and paper to spreadsheets now, had we?
No, I think it was still on pen and paper at this point.
Yeah.
Sitting back and enjoying it.
It is 2004. We have, of course, that sounded very French then. We are setting the scene, as always, by going to Wikipedia. Dave, I believe you're getting us started. Just, paint the picture.
Euro 2004 was the 12th edition of the UEFA European Championship. The final tournament was hosted for the first time in Portugal from the 12th of June to the 4th of July 2004. The 16 qualifying teams for the tournament were Portugal, France, Czech Republic, Sweden, Bulgaria, Denmark, Germany, Greece, England, Italy, Switzerland, Croatia, Latvia, Netherlands, Spain, and Russia.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things is that this is a tournament full of surprises. One particularly huge surprise, which we'll get onto very soon. And weirdly, a bit of a spoiler alert here, just in case you didn't know how this tournament ends or the outcome of it, the first match was the same teams as the last match. So the final game of the tournament was the exact same teams as the opening game, which is weird, incredible to think that can be a thing.
Nice bit of bookending.
There you go, yeah. And also, huge spoiler alert, just sort of say that in advance.
What have you got for me, Ad? Sorry, you're just giving me it.
Oh, yeah, I've given you that.
Sorry. My apple juice hasn't kicked in.
Stay up, mate, come
on. I've got, as always, the official song was called Forza, meaning strength. It was written and performed by Portuguese-Canadian singer superstar Nelly Furtado. The song was played at every match and performed by Furtado at the closing ceremony. So we've got the scene there. I want to set the scene because over in England, our official song, as we discussed off air, there were other songs. The official song was The Farm, All Together Now.
Yeah. Which, do you know what, it's one of those songs which just instantly reminds me of disappointment.
Which quite like it's a catchy song because, we remembered it nearly 20 years on, but it's just a bit whiny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
What was the other one that was on there?
There was one that was, I think it was 442, and it was basically Come On England, which was a kind of a cover version of Come On Eileen.
I don't understand how these still getting commissioned. Someone is wasting a lot of money making these songs.
It was essentially take the word Eileen out and put the word England in, and then in some of the verses they mentioned how bend it like Beckham, cross it like Gerrard, lob it like Lampard, I think it was, which I didn't know if he was particularly known for his lobs, but apparently in the song it was. But yeah, I mean, it was a bizarre video as well.
They actually preempted it because he had that one against Germany in the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, they went 6 years prior to it happening, they made the prediction.
They saw the future.
There you go.
Pre-tournament business as well. Does anyone remember the ball at this time? Because there's a horrendous picture of me in a full tracksuit with a cap on holding the Euro 2000 ball, which at the time I thought was a design masterpiece.
You're really into balls, aren't you, Will?
Yeah, I am. And this one was quite unique at the time because everything was, white panelled, but this was silver with some sort of little, the lines. You remember it?
Little what?
No, did it cause a bit of controversy?
Well, it was a break from tradition. It was silver.
But was it one of those tournaments where they went through a phase in the 2000s in these tournaments where it was like the ball's unplayable? That used to be an excuse.
Jabalani.
There used to be a lot of English press would get it out in early saying, "Oh, the ball swerves all over the place. The keepers have got no clue where it's going to go." Yeah. And I'm like, that's a great out in case we do really bad in the tournament. I've got a feeling this might have been one of those tournaments where there was all kind of controversy around the ball. Might have looked great, but
yeah, when it first came out, thought revolutionary. Looking back, it was horrible. Also, pre-tournament business. The England squad, Dave. Is there anyone that sort of gets your passions going, gets your heart alight?
No, I think it's a better squad than the previous tournament for sure. I think it's got better balance. I think that's the first thing. Nicky Butt's in there, someone that we spoke about, but I think Owen Hargreaves was a good asset then as well. That was when he was kind of a little bit more fit in terms of lack of injuries at Bayern Munich at that time. Top player Joe Cole was just popping off. I think it's a good squad. I think, looking at that forward line, maybe that's where you could see some improvement there with the two backup strikers, Emil Heskey and Darius Vassell. Then that's a part of the squad when you look at and you'd say there isn't much depth up front. Maybe we're kind of speaking about that early, which has led to the later part of the thing. In a sense, I do respect both those players, but you're looking at Rooney at Everton, so fresh, and Michael Owen was still a very good player at Liverpool.
And this was the first tournament that I, as a Birmingham City fan, ever had someone to latch onto, which was Emil Heskey.
Which I've just hammered and destroyed. Good.
So, we'll get into it, but he actually, and it was nothing to do with him. I think he might actually have given away the free kick, but he actually came on as a sub when we were 1-0 up against France. And when he came on, we ended up losing 2-1, and I thought I was going to get beaten up at school.
I mean, the squad as well, Will, just to, when we looked at the previous tournament, Euro 2000, we mentioned sort of bridging that gap between the older players and then the sort of the new crop that came through. This is very much the new crop. Do you know what I mean? He's finally gone for the John Terrys, the Lampards. Joe Cole made it in there.
I find it quite funny. The two worst players in the squad probably play for Birmingham City and Manchester City.
Who's the Manchester City one, sorry?
David James. I think he was past his prime then.
Oh. Yeah, I remember we had the chant though, England's number one. We loved it, even though he conceded loads at the time. But but I think this is, for me, where we started seeing those players really kind of kicking on, and the older kind of generation had kind of completely gone out of this squad. Ian Walker as third choice keeper was a bit of a crazy one.
My first memory of Ian Walker, which I know you're all dying to know about, was
Curtains haircut,
and he actually appeared in a five-a-side net in goal, saving a penalty against Mr. Blobby on Noel's house party.
I mean, that in itself would be worthy of getting in any England squad for me. Did he save it?
I don't know. I think it might have been one of them like, oh, Blobby's gone left, I've gone right.
Oh, well, scripted. Yeah.
In a bit of a weird curveball, Noel Edmund is part of my extended family. Very, very strange.
Is it?
Yeah. No way.
Hey, how long? I've known you nearly 2 years now.
I've never met the guy, but
how extended?
My auntie's sister is married to him.
Really?
This is unbelievable.
Have you ever had a house party with him?
I haven't, no, but I've heard there's games that they play there. You're a little bit weird.
Has he ever called you on the phone?
Nope, never spoke to the man.
You ever applied for Deal or No Deal?
No, I've never done that.
Won't be allowed under actual, if he's related.
Really?
Ofcom rules would state he won't be allowed to do it. Yeah. Because he'd be saying, Noel's fixed it and he's won the money.
Just say your first name's Statman and then second name's Dave. And then
we don't have the same surnames or anything.
You do. Dave Edmonds. We'll start now by getting into the groups, and we'll start with England because unlike Euro 2000, the group stages, spoiler alert, actually ends in some semi-success, but we start with our first game in Portugal against France, and it's, as always it seems in these Euros, that it starts so well. Frank Lampard scores and we're beating the current holders.
Again, sort of reminiscent of Euro 2000 in the sense that we made such a great start, and it's like, whoa, what's going on? We're amazing. We're going to do it, and right until the very end, I thought if we imagine we'd have got a victory over France, how well that had set us up for the tournament, and everything was pointing towards us winning, and then what happens? Steven Gerrard, loose pass. It's very strange, isn't it? It's just like, because the free kick scored by Zidane, that's a moment of quality. Dave, what do you think? David James, it's like on his side, isn't it? But he gives him the eyes. Yeah,
it's a good free kick, and Zizou's obviously pre-done it at these tournaments, so we know they can do it. But yeah, no, I think Paul Robinson then obviously would have been a bit of a gamble. I think he'd probably just moved to Tottenham, or hadn't left Leeds that long before. But you look at that, and I do think David James is a weakness within that squad. In terms of, is he top quality? Probably not. And you saw that with the Zidane free kick, and then the penalty as well. Obviously, he doesn't have a massive chance of saving that, but would a better keeper get closer to it?
Well, then also, obviously, Gerrard's back pass is absolutely terrible, which leaves James in jeopardy. But I just feel if he doesn't need to go in for the ball, it's a moment of head loss from everyone, and then all of a sudden, from being 1-0 up in the 90th minute, we end up losing 2-1 to France, which is a bit of a heartbreak, I tell.
I mean, do you remember what happened just before the penalty as well?
Oh, go on.
The infamous Zidane.
Yeah, it's like he's got a mothball down his
Had
throat.
a little,
choke.
just sicked up a little bit, and then just bagged the penalty, which is just.
He's
Even the way he threw up was calm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like normally, if he's like a big drama in it, but he was just like, cool, steps up to the plate, puts it away.
Do you think he was really nervous, or just had one too many the night before?
I genuinely don't know. It was bizarre though, because remember at the time seeing it and thinking, has that just happened?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it has. And then he's put it away, and it was horrible. It was just a horrible moment. But I've got to tell you, even though we lost that game, there was still positive to take from it. I didn't feel like, oh, we're done. I know it was only one game in, but sometimes you have a really bad opening game, you think, oh, I know this tournament's going to pan out. But I did think, actually, if we can go one up for that long against France, tighten up at the back a little bit, eradicate individual mistakes, which was uncharacteristic of Gerrard, really, to be fair, because he did have a good tournament. But I still felt quite positive after that game.
Yeah.
As hard as it was in the immediate.
That's the optimist in you.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Dave, what would we talking about sort of set-wise again? Is it back to 4-4-2? Is this the problem with the golden generation when we've got the talent trying to slip it all into one place?
Yeah, I think you look at the midfield, that's a massive problem. How do you fit them all in? This has been the inherent problem with England for so long. Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, you have to lose one in there. You've got to throw, some sort of workers in there. I think Owen Hargreaves came in and did quite well in an auxiliary role. But no, I think he played wide a bit as well at times for Bayern Munich and for England and at fullback. So is that utility man in there? I think it's a better squad than what we previously had in terms of the defence is definitely stand out ahead. You're looking at the likes of Terry and Sol Campbell at that point was very, very good.
And Ashley Cole
decent
as well.
fullbacks. Ashley Cole probably left back of the tournament. So there's a lot of quality in there, but it's still difficult. It basically means you're playing one of Gerrard or Paul Scholes out of position. And, if we could go back in time and play with a three-man midfield, it could be great.
It's like, I always think about this, particularly with this squad, when we had, used to describe it as like the Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes conundrum. I was like, why not just play all of them? Just play three. And it's like, no one ever thought of that.
No, but as in, that still doesn't work.
Yeah, but I mean, putting one out on the left
didn't work as well.
Definitely didn't work.
No, 100%.
You know what I mean?
You could look at that point. Porto just won the Champions League in a diamond.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go on to the underdogs later on, but surely that's a bit of a lesson there. You think England, two great attacking fullbacks, got Cole, as you mentioned there, probably the best left back in the world at the time. Gary Neville, up and down.
Yeah.
You've got three potentially really good attacking midfielders in Scholes, Gerrard and Lampard.
Yeah. And we even had Hargreaves.
And Beckham in there as well. But Beckham played a bit of that quarterback role at a time, didn't he? I think that was around the time they were messing about with that. But just feel they didn't get that balance quite right. Did you need both of the centre forwards as well? As much as Michael Owen was still in his heyday, was it just about throwing a energetic Rooney up, or even being more dogged than that and just playing for an Emil Heskey? There is options there, and it does feel like we are going back and we're kind of belittling the management, but it's kind of shown again that they haven't got it right.
Yeah. The thing is, though, you'd think at least try one of them. Do you know what I mean? You've got about three different ideas there, Dave. But
we're going back in time again. I'm looking at from a 2020 angle or a 2021 angle.
I don't know.
Where this is
2004,
where football has massively moved on. But it is the time of when the Makelele role came to be a big thing in the Premier League, and that would have been a perfect solution for England. Then it just feels like another real, missed out tournament in a sense. And I think it shows their mentality once again. It's another time we've looked at England and they've conceded late and lost a game of football from a very good position. That needs to be eradicated.
Well, it was eradicated as we absolutely slayed the Swiss in the next game. Wayne Rooney, 18-year-old at the time, obviously all the talk and all the promise around him pre-Man United, but obviously this is the sort of tournament that spurred him on to go to Old Trafford. Rooney bags 2, Gerrard gets 1. That means we go into the final group game against Croatia. Both teams can go through, but both teams together can't go through. So it's a sort of playoff scenario. We go 1-0 down. But then, Sven finds a way, Dave. That's what he does. He's a tactician. He's a genius. At this time, Wayne Rooney. Was it do metatarsal in this one, or was it the start of the quarters?
I think it was in the quarters.
Start of the quarters. Well, at this time, he scored 2 in the last one. He scores 2 in this. We are thinking we've got the world at our feet, the best young player in Europe, and it's coming home.
I'm telling you what.
Anyone?
I think that Rooney in that tournament was probably the most exciting player I've ever seen for England in a tournament by far. I mean, obviously, I'm old, Will, but I'm not old enough to quite remember the 1990 World Cup.
Jeff Ice got you off your feet, didn't he, back in '66? He's not that old.
No, but for me, seeing Rooney, I was like,
Match winner.
We could potentially go into the latter stage of the tournament if we can keep him fit, which is ultimately the downfall of England, I think, in this tournament. But I think unbelievable. He just played completely fearless. He looked untouchable in some of them games. His control, the strength. I was like, I can't believe we've got a player who's this good. It's weird because he played so like uncharacteristic of what England had been in previous tournaments that I'd watched, where he was taking games by the scruff of the neck. He was running at players. He was direct. He was scoring goals from outside the box. He was scoring simple strikers' goals, headers.
Whoa, what are you doing there? If you want to hear more about the knockout stages and listen to the full podcast, click the link in the description down below and you can hear the full podcast in all its beauty.